Welcome back to Cryptos Are Us. I am George. We're all George. So, tonight, let's talk about Bitcoin and crypto. Like every night. But things are looking better tonight. A lot of alts are coming back up. Bitcoin is coming up. So, let's talk about this supply shock that's building and how we need to prepare for the biggest one in history. That's right. So let's talk about everything that's going on in the world of Bitcoin and crypto. And that's that. All right, let's get started, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Like I said, things are looking better. We're right around 98,000. Okay, climbing back up slowly but surely, getting back up to 6 digits, and a lot of the alts that sold off, during the weekend, starting to recover a little bit. Not quite back to where they were, but a little bit. Stepping stones. We're getting there, but a lot of news to talk about. Let's first talk about Bitcoin. Man, we got so much. The supply shock that's building right now, man, it's going to be the biggest we have ever seen in Bitcoin's history. By far. It's no comparison. These states, North Carolina becomes the 20th state to introduce legislation. Okay. No surprise at this point. Every state is basically one after another, either introducing legislation or already passed legislation. So they're either adding Bitcoin to their reserve or they're going to introduce something, right? But look at this one. Florida is considering a $1.5 billion investment. Okay, well, up to 1.5 billion. This is no joke. A lot of the states are thinking about putting 5 to 10 million, right, of their budget into Bitcoin. State of Florida is considering putting 1.5 billion into Bitcoin. These are like whale numbers, okay? I mean, things are really building up, guys. I mean, if you haven't been paying attention, I mean, this is what I've been covering every single day. There's only so many Bitcoin to go around. When you're throwing a billion here, a billion there, a billion here, a billion there, at some point it's going to run out. Okay? So, short-term volatility, short-term market manipulation, short-term distractions, it's always going to happen. But look at the bigger picture. All the buying that's happening, we've never seen this before. We've never, in any previous cycles, had states introducing legislation to buy Bitcoin. We never had the United States creating a strategic reserve of Bitcoin. We never had ETFs based on spot Bitcoin. And we never had companies FOMO into Bitcoin like they are right now. It's not hard to put it all together and realize that, man, this is the time. This is the golden era for Bitcoin. And everything will change after this cycle. This is why this supply shock is going to be unlike anything in history. This was reported on my X today. Tesla, well, there's a debate whether they did increase their holdings or not. This is according to their SEC. They hold 11,509 Bitcoin. This is Tesla. Okay. This is adding up to a lot. Billions. Or over a billion. Slightly over a billion. Right. They haven't, well, it looks like they haven't added, but it's the price, since the price have increased, so it seems like they added. So there's some confusion there. But overall, still a billion. Billion here, a billion there, billion everywhere. SpaceX doesn't have to report because it's a private company, but Elon has said before, SpaceX owns Bitcoin. Elon himself owns Bitcoin. You know, it's just all over the place. Metaplanet said that they're purchasing up to 21,000 Bitcoin by 2026. No, 2020. No, they're purchasing 21,000 Bitcoin by 2026 or something like that. They're going to buy a ton, let's just say. But they just announced another 26 million bond to buy more Bitcoin. I mean, again, everyone is loading up as much as possible. The CEO of the largest bank in Singapore is bullish on Bitcoin too. Every single bank now, because of several rule changes in the US, now the FDIC isn't pressuring banks to not allow crypto services. So now banks are turning bullish. Banks can also become custodians. And you have a lot of banks around the world that love Bitcoin already. Standard Chartered, CEO Standard Chartered loves Bitcoin. And many others are turning very pro-Bitcoin. So even banks are bullish on Bitcoin. They love to conduct business with Bitcoin customers. And a lot of them hold Bitcoin personally. It's just a lot of accumulation. Look at this. Accumulation addresses skyrocketing, right? Yeah, you just put it all together, guys. Just put it all together. I'm building up to something, okay? We're going to break out. That breakout is going to happen. Right now, we got a lot of, short-term volatility and distractions and FUD. I know that, especially with alts. But Bitcoin remains strong. Bitcoin's not going to go anywhere. That's why I've been talking about recently, some of the whales, when they get fearful, what do? They sell off the alts, right? The altcoins get weaker and weaker, but Bitcoin doesn't. Bitcoin stays where it's at. It doesn't really move all that much because of the supply shock that's already happening, because there's so many entities and individuals that hold so much of supply. That's why it's not going to go anywhere. But it's just a matter of time we go up in a big way. Here's something that's interesting. This is already adding up for this month, or it started happening last month. This month will be really interesting. So according to the Modern Investor here, there's only 140,000 Bitcoin left on the OTC market. As you guys know, all these big boys, ETF, Sailor, any big transactions happen on OTC market. That's why when they buy, you don't see it reflected in Bitcoin's price, because they're not buying on spot Coinbase. When Sailor announces a $1 billion buy, he's not pressing I'm buying 10,000 Bitcoin on Coinbase. He's going behind the scenes to buy on OTC market. So according to Modern Investor, basically there's not a whole lot left, because a third of all OTC Bitcoin was bought in January alone. Crazy amount of buying. These guys never, ever stop. The ETFs continue to load up. 50,000 Bitcoin in January alone. What about Sailor? How much does he buy? It seems like he buys 10,000 every week too. There's only so many that's out there circulating. The miners don't release that many per day. There's only, how many gets released? 900 or 450 gets produced per day now? They're not being released. The miners are keeping them. So there's only so many to be sold. After the OTC market dries up, which it will at some point, then where will the Bitcoin come from? The exchanges. The exchanges still have about like 2 million Bitcoin left. It's dropping like crazy, but there's about 2 million overall. Wait until the OTC market dries up. Then these ETFs, when they need to buy 50,000 Bitcoin every month, and it's coming from the exchanges, then yes, the price will be disrupted and the price will move rapidly when that happens. I've been calling that for a while. Ever since the ETFs came out, I'm like, just wait. One day, the ETFs take in so many, the inflows is so much, at some point, the OTC market is going to dry up. When that day comes, I like to know where all the Bitcoins go come from. Are they really go buy it from the exchanges? Are they go to Coinbase, spot Coinbase or spot Binance and buy it directly from them when the OTC market dries up? It's going to be very, very fascinating. It's going to happen at some point. I just don't know when, but it seems more and more likely that it's going to happen this year, especially when Saylor and others continue to buy OTC too. It's not just the ETFs. But I think we will find out this year. When the OTC market dries up, we'll see where they're going to get their Bitcoin from. It's going to be very, very, very interesting. All right. Now, outside of Bitcoin, what about all the others? Even though they have been a little bit weaker, but the big caps, they have a really good chance of coming back because there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes. Scaramucci of Skybridge Capital still thinks Solana is the one to back because they will beat Ethereum, especially in the tokenization race. I agree with that. I met him on the set of Killer Whales, and I told him I think I'm very bullish on Solana. He was very happy to hear that. But the metrics of Solana supports it. The metrics are outstanding. But besides just metrics, we know that the ETF is around the corner. You also have a company kind of like Strategy. It's called Sol Strategy that continues to acquire Sol. And they keep on acquiring. So maybe this strategy also will work in their favor and help remove Sol from supply. So that's great. And you know what? The chart mimics Ethereum back in 2023 before it started going up in 2024. Very similar. We'll see. Looks very similar. Right? But I mentioned there are a lot of ETFs. Okay, a lot. You got XRP. Chances of approval. Okay, you got Solana at 70%. XRP at 65%. Dogecoin at 75%. And you even have Litecoin at 90%. That may be the reason why Litecoin is actually doing pretty good today. Because now there's rumors that Litecoin ETF will come out before any of these others. So, will institutional money flow into these crypto once they get their ETFs? I think so, unless Grayscale dumps them all. Because the Grayscale has this reputation when they convert their trust into ETF, what do? They start dumping all of their assets first. That may happen for a while because they did that with Bitcoin first, and then they did it with Ethereum. They may be doing that with Litecoin and Solana, XRP, and Doge. But, look at the 19B4 acknowledged. The two that are acknowledged is Litecoin and Solana. So it's going to be one or two. Those two will be first. Then it's going to be XRP and Doge. We'll see. We'll see. And then today, I saw someone say it. Cardano may be getting an ETF too. Grayscale wants a Cardano ETF because they have a Cardano trust. They want to convert that into ETF as well. But Cardano has a lot of stuff going on too. Cardano, Charles Hoskinson, tied with Doge. Doge has been making a big splash. Everyone's talking about the U.S. AID, Department of Education, Treasury Department, everything that Elon is doing, right? Making a big splash. Charles is getting involved. Look at this. Look at this. VIP dinner got moved from the 22nd to the 1st. So the super important meeting is early March now. And he was meeting with Elon. He showed a picture of himself at SpaceX. So what is Cardano? What is Cardano going to do with Doge or Elon or the new administration? Maybe something's brewing. Could be huge. Could be pretty big. We'll see. Cardano is also working with Swissquote, a Swiss bank with 500,000 clients. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And in terms of a chart, if you look at their current movement right now, it's setting up the same pattern as they did in the last cycle before they shot up to the moon. So last cycle they hit almost, I think $4 or something. I don't know how high they hit. They went pretty high. So they're setting themselves up to get back to their previous high and go up even more. Yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it. And then this Trivago integrates with Trivala, enabling hotel bookings in over 100 cryptocurrencies. I don't know what this has to do with Cardano, but but in case you guys wanted to book and travel and you wanted to pay with crypto, you could do that with Trivala. There we go. All right, that's pretty much it. Yeah, let's do some Q&A. Man, I can't wait for in 9:30, the Lakers game is going to be on. Luka, I think, is playing. I got to watch that game. Let me see if I'm missing a super chat or any chat in general. Cruisin asked something above. What is the cheapest method to access available Bitcoin on all exchanges? I have no idea. Glassnode, probably. I mean, you could search. A lot of people post it. I don't know which service gives you the most accurate, but like CryptoQuant has it, Glassnode has it. I'm sure there are some that have it. But a lot of people post it for free on Twitter. Just look at it. Do you use leverage when you trade? What is the highest amount you go for leverage? And what about Jupiter perpetuals? I have traded with Jupiter perpetuals. I would stay away from it because they charge you a fee for rental, basically, like a rental fee. And that fee keeps going up. You know, it tallies every day. So if you keep something open for a long time, the fee adds up tremendously. And I don't like that. So I stopped doing that on Jupiter. Because if you keep something open for like 2 weeks, you'll find like the fee is like $1,000. I'm like, what the hell? I'm not doing that again. But I do, like, leverage is a dangerous game, but it's an addictive one. Like sometimes The safest is like 2 to 3x. Even 3x could get you liquidated sometimes, but it's pretty safe. When you go above like 5x on alts, you know, it gets dangerous. Anything above, you're just really asking for it. Unless you're really timing it correctly, you could read the charts perfectly. You know, I wouldn't go above. With Bitcoin, you could go a little bit above because Bitcoin moves slower. But on the alts, you know, you gotta really watch yourself. Can Sui go back to $2? At this point, no. It's at 330. 330. It has to drop more than 50% to go back to $2. I just don't see that happening. How can a team give up on Luka? He might be the best player in NBA. Yeah, I don't know. I hope you know, he makes the Mavs pay and he goes on like a crazy, he gets really motivated and he like carries the Lakers to the finals and then gives LeBron another ring. Best DEX to trade using leverage. I don't know. I don't use any DEXs to trade leverage. I use them mostly BitUnix. That's what I've been using. I like almost live religiously on that mobile, but it's not a good thing. Like sometimes I get caught and then, you know, it takes so much time out of my day. But I don't use DEXs to leverage trade. I should more, but I like I said, I did a little bit on Jupiter, but I don't like the fee, the rental fee. I don't know if that's what they call it, rental fee or some kind of fee that goes up, a timely fee that goes up. So I'm not a fan of that. Echoes. Can you DCA into Sui ecosystem token? Maybe get some low fee. Market cap seems too low. Why are you asking me to do that? If you like it, go ahead and do it yourself. Don't ask me to do it. Spine ticks, man. No, he wouldn't. I grew up in the MJ era. He wouldn't. He took 2 years off, man. It's not like he took 10 years off. He took 2 years off. Even if he didn't take 2 years off, he wouldn't have all the stats, man. No one is beating LeBron's stats because of longevity. LeBron's freaking 40 and he's the top 5 player. You could argue he's a top 4 player at age 40. You know, no one can ever beat his stats because of that. He's played freaking 22 years as the top 4 player in the NBA. No one in history has done that, and I don't think anyone will ever do that. He's a genetic freak, basically. His early career injury is just 1 year. 2 years off was the baseball time. Career counts. His career injury counts. That's him getting injured. That happens. That's just 1 year and 2 years off. You add those 3, his stats still wouldn't be close to LeBron's. Do you think exchanges are hypothecating Bitcoin? No. Well, I hope not. My answer is I hope not. because if they are, it'll lead to like a FTX situation. I hopefully they learned from that situation. Asset collector, but I can't tell for sure. I know the American-based ones are not. Overseas one, I can't speak for. Thoughts on CRO for the bull run? 10x from all-time high. Man, Ronan, I'm going to be honest. I've never been a fan of the chain CRO. The exchange is fine. But the chain CRO, never been a fan. I don't know anything that's going on there. When it first started out, it had some fishy projects. I don't hear anyone talk about any dApps on top of CRO. So I don't know. Can they come back? Sure. Can they go back to their all-time high? There's always a chance. But I think they're really off from their previous high. I think, like you said, they're still down like 90% or something. I think they have a pretty high inflation rate. I don't know. Let me check. Yeah, they're down really, really, really. There's no max supply. So I think there's just like an infinite inflation rate. First VA rifleman. Here's the thing. I don't necessarily disagree. You know, you could say Jordan 1, LeBron 2. It's fine. Like I don't necessarily disagree. But here's my counter to this thing where Jordan will be 6-0. How many years did he play in the NBA? It wasn't 6 years. Jordan fanatics will always just pretend like he only played 6 years in the NBA. Jordan played, what? I don't know how many years. 12, 13 years in the NBA? Longer? Probably longer than that. Like, probably like 15, 16 years. What about every other year that he didn't even make it to the finals? Do those years not count? If you count the total of years in his career that he made it to the finals, it'll be like 6 out of like 18 or something. Why is that not a stat? Why does no one ever count that? They only count 6-0 in the finals, but they don't say 6 out of 18 in his career. 15. So how come no one ever says 6 out of 15 to the finals? So somehow not getting to the finals is better than getting to the finals and losing. So is that the argument to make? That if you don't make it to the finals, it's better than getting to the finals and losing? You know? So, again, I'm not debating if LeBron is better, but I just think that's not a good argument. Because you're discounting every other year that he didn't make it to the finals. And then you're also arguing that if you don't make it to the finals, somehow that's better than making it to the finals and losing. That's like saying what happened in the Super Bowl. Like basically, it's better to not make it to the Super Bowl than making it to the Super Bowl and losing. Right? Like, is that better? Is it better to be one of the teams to have not lost to Philly? Jerry West. Jerry West is the GOAT. Well, that's true. They thought about changing the logo to Kobe. CLT777, I sent a super chat. What is it? You still big on stacks? No. I'm neutral. I'm not negative. I'll just say neutral. Did you see GameStop CEO met with Saylor? Will GME buy Bitcoin? I did see that. You know, I don't even know why they didn't do it earlier. I mean, it makes sense, right? It's all about degens. But I think they held back because of the Wall Street Bets thing, because they want everyone to pump their stock. But now that I think that's over, you know, embracing Bitcoin is awesome. I don't know why they wouldn't do that. They should do that. I don't know if that's going to help their stock. Maybe it will. If they fully embrace it and they get all the Wall Street Bets guys to embrace Bitcoin, that would be fantastic. All right, so got a couple of minutes before the Lakers game, so I guess that's cue to take off. Let's see how Luka does. All right, guys. Today wasn't bad. Today is a slight recovery day. I think we got a lot of great things happening, of course. We got more good news. Supply shock is always building. But we're in the biggest one in history. So stay focused, stay strong. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Usual time, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one, guys. Take care.